All right, so if you want to know the best books that'll get you from zero to $1 million a year and even beyond, these are the books that I personally recommend that you read. And so much so, these are literally the books that I recommend to the team. So these are actual books that I've read once, twice, maybe even multiple times, and have recommended to my own team to make sure that we succeed. So rest assured, again, these are phenomenal books. So just to get into it, the first one is Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. And I even wrote this little essay at the bottom as far as what this book is about, the sort of summary of the author, and why it fucking rocks. But in short, this is a guy that took a restaurant from being pretty good to being top 50 in the world and then being the #1 restaurant in the world. And this is a restaurant in New York, which already has enough competition with restaurants, right? So this guy knows a little bit about, well, obviously restaurants, but also about leadership, about thinking grand and big and thinking like a visionary, thinking like someone that fully cares about what they do and the level of service that they have towards the people that they are serving, right? So this is very important for any type of business that you're in. Hospitality in particular, restaurants, hotels, whatever, is something that I draw on all the time. That industry is so inspirational to everything that I do because I used to work in hospitality. So hearing all the great things that you can do with it, which is also, as the author points out, something that, say, Walt Disney did with Disney World or Disneyland or whatever. Like, this is how you create a truly unforgettable experience that people cannot get anywhere else. This is how you create the big sexy for your business that makes it so that customers are not just customers, they become lifelong fans that can dedicate core memories to working with you rather than working with anyone else. So read this book if you want to learn how to do that. Next book is The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. This is obviously about culture. It's about your team culture. And it can also be moved to talk about, say, your community, if you have a school community, talking about the culture of that school community. But I particularly like to think of it for the team culture, right? So at Goosify, I know it says Geesify up here, but at the company that I operate for, Geesify, we have about 14, Goosify, we have about 14 or 15 people on the team. So for the company, the community, the school community that I work for called Goosify or operate for, we have about 14 or 15 people on the team. And that's a lot of people to manage. That's a big culture to manage. And looking at the top cultures, the author actually looks at the best and the worst cultures from around the world in the most pivotal positions. He looks at Navy SEALs, he looks at NBA basketball teams, he looks at, there's one in particular, the submarine story. If you read the book, you might know what I'm talking about. Like the people that actually take care of and run the nuclear submarines of the U.S. Navy, they don't have a great culture. And the author points out what specifically they've done wrong, what patterns he sees across these cultures to see what the best do right and the worst do wrong. So read this book because it will teach you everything you need to know about how to be an amazing leader and create a community, a culture, a team that you truly care about, that you truly want to see succeed. So the next one is 11 Rings by Phil Jackson and Hugh Delahanty, something like that. Phil Jackson was the coach of the Chicago Bulls under Michael Jordan, right? This is an NBA team, one of the best in the world. Michael Jordan, best player in the world. And Phil Jackson, the most winningest coach in the world, or I think he's at least tied for it with 11, as you can see, NBA championship rings. This means they were the best team of that year, every year, not just the Bulls, but he also won championship rings on his own team when he was playing basketball. And in general, this book is so good. It's really similar to The Culture Code, but it really dives deep into how Phil Jackson made the Bulls the Bulls. They weren't just any other NBA team, and it's talked about a lot, like how unique this team was, how it drew upon Native American spiritual rituals, how they used meditation to their advantage. Again, how to create an amazing culture of people that go from hating each other, that go from not getting along with each other, to becoming a team that truly thinks, wow, we are so much better than any other team. And then even a step further, a step above that, where they ascend into a team that is just playing and winning for the love of the game. They're not even thinking about the competition. That's how good they are. And so this also talks about Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, because Phil Jackson coached both of those people, as well as Michael Jordan, as well as Scottie Pippen. I can't really go much into that unless you're an NBA fan, you know those names. But yeah, biggest names in NBA history, some of the biggest names he coached. He won with them. He also won on his own. So he knows what he's doing. So next book is Elon Musk's biography by Walter Isaacson. Walter Isaacson is one of the best biographers in the world. I love every one of his biographies. And Elon Musk's biography is a page turner. He is, and I even write it here, Elon Musk is somebody that's kind of an enigma to me. I've grown up in more left-leaning circles. Now I'm in a lot more right-leaning circles. I'm in bubbles constantly where I hear completely different, conflicting opinions about Elon Musk in particular. And so I've never really known who he was as a person, right? I don't want to create an opinion on someone that I've never met, especially if I don't know their backstory. I don't know what they do day to day. I don't know what's actually good and what's bad about them and what's just a rumor. And so with this biography, Walter Isaacson actually got to shadow Elon for years. He would get texts from him at the middle of the night. He would go to SpaceX meetings, Tesla meetings, stuff like that. And there are so many chapters where you go from understanding who Elon is as a person and honestly sometimes feeling bad for him to thinking, wow, this is probably why people think he's a terrible person. That makes total sense. And then you go back and forth along these lines. And by the end of the book, I went from before I read the book, I was confused. I wasn't really sure where to put my opinion, and I didn't know anything about Elon. But by the end of the book, I knew as much as there kind of is to know up until like the 2024 presidential election. And now I know all this information, and I'm even more confused because there's too much information that I know about this man. So now I'm at a really weird stage, but I at least know that he's successful, right? He gets a lot of shit done, and he has a genuine, heartfelt mission, at least that's what this book talks about, in terms of wanting to create an environment, number one, where electric cars are going around, right? So instead of these polluting oil and gas powered cars, helping people get to Mars because he feels like that's the best way to save humanity. Helping people with their internet, with Starlink, right? And so you have all these different things going on. And a lot of times, again, you feel kind of like he's crazy, but then you also see the success. You see the people he's helped. You see all the people driving Teslas today. And you can't really be mad at someone for making electric cars more popular and usable and sexy, right? So that's pretty cool. My opinion has changed a little bit now that the Epstein files are out, but I still do recommend this book because I feel like there's something that you can learn from everyone. Again, like Elon Musk is already a very conflicted person to know and associate with, right? But there's still a lot you can learn from him. The success of his business, it's kind of like separating the art from the artist, regardless of where you are in the political spectrum, regardless of the release of the Epstein files, regardless of any of that, which is also mid-investigation. I don't know what's true or what's not. It's not my place to speculate on that. But in terms of business, in terms of being successful in your business, I think this is a very helpful book to understand what kind of environment creates somebody like this, what you can learn to not become, and what you can learn, what you can learn not to become, which is honestly more important than what you can learn to become, right? So mistakes, successes, accomplishments, and utter failures in character, in business, in his personal life that you can learn from. So the next book is not really like a published book. It's actually a confidential file, but it's called How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. This is a handbook that Mr. Beast gives to his team when he hires them, and he wants them to read it so that they know how to succeed in Mr. Beast Production. And so this book is very important, especially for people that are on your media team, if you have one, that are in any way connected to content, right? But it's also extremely important for anyone that's not directly related to the content, because he talks about being an A player. He talks about taking responsibility for everything. He talks about how to truly succeed in a company that wants to push the bar higher, right? That wants to push the world further, that wants to do all kinds of crazy, innovative shit and break world records and be the best team, the best community, the best culture, everything as possible. So in short, just read this book. You won't regret it. I've read it probably 2 or 3 times. I've made the team read it a couple of times as well, and I have not regretted it since. ACQ Closer Handbook. All right, so this book is, again, it's like an internal file that Alex Ramosi has for his acquisition.com team. We paid for these. If you have not paid for them, I think you can get them on the ACQ website. If not, you could probably find someone that has a copy somewhere, online maybe, I don't know. But this book, again, is very related and very helpful directly for somebody that's in the sales department of your team. But again, this works for anybody. It has the same sort of things that the Mr. Beast handbook has in terms of telling people what an A player means, what it means to fail and try again, to get knocked down and get up again. And kind of the same as Mr. Beast Production, which I didn't hit on, is you might get a lot of controversy for talking about these 2 books, for recommending them, I might, I guess, because I'm the one recommending them, because a lot of people don't understand the work it takes to do crazy things, right? If you want to be exceptional, you have to be the exception. You have to work harder than anyone else. And if you don't want to, that's okay. You don't need to do the things that we do. You can totally work a 9 to 5. You could totally do anything you want, right? But to get to the level of really high level business, these are the types of sacrifices that you'll find in these books that you'll have to make. So yeah, just reset some expectations. And the last one, which actually stays to the end because I'll have a bonus one after this, but the last one for right now is Essentialism by Greg McKeown. So this book I just finished, actually. It was a recommendation from a friend. It was also a recommendation from, I think, Alex Ramosi and Chris Williamson, all kinds of famous people in the sort of business space. And this book is about basically putting your energy into the things that matter. About a big part of it is setting boundaries on what takes your time, and really just figuring out how your time is valuable. It's very similar to Buy Back Your Time from Dan Martell, but I haven't finished that book, so I don't want to recommend it just yet until I do. But Essentialism is, again, like, it's a fucking page turner. It is a insanely well-written book that I have heard from multiple people, that it changed how they do business. I've even read, so like if you read The Culture Code and you read Essentialism, you might even find some of the same stories in both of these books, which I thought was really fascinating, and really shows how multiple people that have written multiple successful books tie together the same stories. That just shows me that these books are pretty well written and well researched. So those are my book recommendations. But I have one more for you for sticking to the end. I humbly thank you for doing so. The last book recommendation, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This is a Holocaust survivor that's also a psychotherapist, psychologist, I'm not sure which one it was, but he invented an entirely new subset of psychology called logotherapy. And I'm a huge psychology nerd. I just forgot to put this one in the book recommendations for the team, which I will do soon, I promise. But just to share it with you as a little sneak peek, this book has helped me through so much. Right? I had a pretty rough childhood, and it doesn't get much rougher than the Holocaust. So when you get to read a perspective like this, you get to understand that a lot of people have had it worse. And you get to understand how they got through it. Right? They understand that this suffering that you go through, the pain that you go through, that you didn't choose to be a part of, there's meaning to be found within it. Right? I haven't read this book in years. I did read it a couple times, and I think I'm going to read it again pretty soon. But it's top of mind because of just how much suffering there really is in the world, how much pain there is, how even people that are very successful, that have all the money in the world, have everything they've ever asked for, are still uncomfortable, and they still feel that discomfort. They still feel like they don't have everything they want. How it can be beneficial for them to understand, again, that there are other people that have it worse than them, and that they got through those moments. How can you, not you specifically, but just how can anyone get through their moments, right? This is also very important for me because I'm very into, like, my mission is make money and save the world. And so when I think about these types of stories, I think about how can I understand the psychology of someone that's stuck in some sort of rut, right? Whether they're in the slums of India or they're, just down and out, their child passed away, something like that. How can I tap into the mind of someone like that and help them find meaning? And to do that, I would probably recommend this book, right? Obviously this book isn't going to solve everyone's problems for them, but I think it's a good start. And on top of that, helping them, either, giving them some sort of care, right? If someone's homeless and hungry, giving them food. If someone is grieving a loss, right? Helping them find their way out, helping them find that the light to that path. If someone is just in a little bit of a rut, they're just having a few down moments, helping them find comfort in continuing to move forward and continuing, again, to find meaning in life. Because at the end of the day, I can put in all of this work, I can read the Closer Handbook, I can read the Mr. Beast Production Handbook, and I still won't want to work because I don't find meaning in it. Right? So if I understand what I'm trying to do with my life, I understand where I'm trying to go, then I will lead myself to that path. And this book was the start of it all for me. That's why I'm in this position today. So thank you for sticking to the end. You got a little bit of that personal story for me. You're welcome, I guess. And thank you for staying to the end, for watching this video. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. I love you. Peace.